Hi, this is Vinay Baya in conversation with Amit Chatterjee. Welcome to The Missing Link with Amit. Hi, Amit.
Hi, Vinay.
With superpowers like America
Mhm.
dictating and having a huge influence for rest of the countries around the world, the line is getting thinner and thinner. And with Trump coming back as 2.0 version, I'd like to know your insights on that.
The first thought that comes to my mind, Vinay, is that Trump 2.0 and the world is, for example, I have two feelings that come in. One is that when I think about my values or principles that some people like me have grown up with, then I don't like it. On the other hand, when I think about has it created an impact, it has already created an impact. The lines are getting redrawn, whether if you look at it from the lens of global politics or power politics or even defense industry, technology. uh, Trump coming in again has I think changed all the lines that we ever knew. So this is not just Trump 2.0. I would say this is world maybe 3.0 if 2.0 was the post World War II period. For example, what this is doing to Europe, which was, probably the most socially developed, economically developed part of the world that we live in, Europe has been shaken dramatically, right? Yeah, I mean, Europe has to now think of probably even the NATO, with maybe, I don't know, going forward with a different name, which is minus the US. They have to also renegotiate primarily how they look at the rest of the world. In the past, it was okay. There is U.S. to take care of their defense primarily, and they are huge trading partners for sure. Europe buys in technology, including AI chips and whatnot. So the supply chains are spread across. That doesn't change with Trump 2.0 or World 3.0. For us from India, it has also changed. And on one side, I think with the leadership that we have, political leadership today, they are quite alive to these changes. So I feel as an Indian that we're a little bit at peace that yes, our current leadership, political leadership can handle these changes. We are probably, being forced to get more into transactional kind of relationships between countries, between leaders. Will that be good for human society overall? I don't think so. But I hope this is a kind of a trough that we go through and we find new ways. It may take another 5, 10 years. I don't know. By that time, probably I'm too old. But yet, for the next generation, I think it is important that they are also alive to the impact on their lives. Like we hear a lot about millennials and Gen Zs now, even in the Indian context, because the Indian organizations now have a lot of Gen Zs. You know, and also the managers mostly are millennials, and probably a few from my kind of generation, what they call the baby boomers or something, are left behind who will retire in the next months or couple of years. So this group of millennials and Gen Zs, I think, also need to find their feet while the huge shifts are happening, driven by not just politics but by power, how these bigger powers handle their power, for example. So everybody should be very, very aware of what's going on. Everybody should be, I think, also concerned about it. For example, uh, what's also happening, we see, which people label it as the right-wing politics coming up everywhere all across the world, whether it's Italy, whether it is France, whether it's Germany, whether it's the US, India. And then we have the autocrats on another side in China and in Russia, etc. So we are actually, very largely splintered as a global, and then I'm not that much aware of what is happening in the so-called global South. But if you look at Africa and whatever I read, for example, it's not a very happy place. And with this changing power dynamics that's happening, I'm sure even the equations over there will probably go a little bit, not a little bit, very different. Trump 2.0 could probably stop or rather reduce the wars and not conflicts, but reduce the wars at least that is going on, because there's an economic undercurrent to it that, everybody needs to kind of conserve their economic strength and invest it more for their own country's benefit. That's central place almost everywhere now.
He actually proposed of shifting Palestinians, close to around 1.5 million Palestinians from Gaza. So this particular turf at which he is exhibiting his leadership. So will other players like Jordan, being neighboring country, and they showcase they're totally not okay with it. When Israel had their reservations, and global leaders on a parallel note, now that US is trying to still go back in the terms the way US used to handle the world, and the perspective at which they used to see the world has changed over the dynamic of few decades. So how these other leaders, will take up these proposals, which is coming from US from front side.
At least in the past, and when I'm saying past, I'm talking was past till 6 months or 4 months back, not really, even the long past. We were living in this Cold War initially, and then the post Cold War um, kind of a world more from the U.S. point of view and the lies that U.S. had built up. And now, when U.S. is kind of withdrawing their interference through whatever, they have to still run their economy. What's not clear, I think, for most people I hear who are experts or who are analysts, for example, is that how Trump will run it exactly. It is one thing to have the rhetoric and the winning elections, but other thing is to actually form policy and implement it, right? But on the other hand, if you spoke about Palestinian refugees coming back to Gaza, and the biggest, I won't say just a hurdle, but the biggest force over there, biggest vector over there is Israel. And Israel, without the support of U.S., both militarily as well as economically, um, is a different entity. So I don't know what will happen, whether Israel will again start firing and shooting and killing more people. But I think Ukraine probably is easier to understand because if Ukraine doesn't get, arms and ammunition support from the U.S. is the unknown entity, not only because of Trump, but because they also are for sure the most powerful country from economic point of view and technology point of view. As a layman, I would say not an expert on these issues, but I still don't see uh, peace coming in. And why Trump is talking about peace is probably to reduce the economic wastage, although he says also, millions of people, human beings being wasted is the word I saw in some statement of his, which I appreciate completely. But I don't know what is the prime driver. Is it the human lives that are getting wasted wherever wars are happening, conflicts are happening, or is it because of only economics?
Thank you, Arun. Thank you so much. They heard it. It's Trump 2.0 from Amit's perspective. Thank you.